This is Josh Wall, and today I'm speaking with Kevin Tyner, a corporate sales rep from the Portland Trailblazers.
How you doing?
Thanks for taking the time to speak with me today, Kevin.
Ab- Absolutely.
Start things off, could you just tell a little bit about yourself and what you do with the Trailblazers?
Sure. I'm a corporate sales manager with the Portland Trailblazers. My day to day is a lot of conversations with business owners in the Portland and Southwest Washington area. I get a chance to get out and talk to a lot of companies about season tickets, suite packages, and other ways that they can utilize Trailblazer tickets for their companies. I had my little bit about myself, background wise. From Portland, Oregon, played at Central. Or I went to Central Catholic High School. I had a chance to go on to Western Oregon University and play basketball. After college, I had the opportunity to go overseas and play 6 years professionally, and had a great experience overseas. And from there, got a chance to come work for the hometown team at the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, sounds like a dream job.
Uh, Basketball was. This is my second dream job.
Okay, of course.
I have no complaints.
All right. Like you just said, you played professional around the world. From like your experience working with the Trailblazers and then playing for other leagues, how does the NBA like conduct itself compared to those other leagues?
Yeah. Uh, the NBA, for starters, is first class. There wasn't anywhere else that I played in or played at or had seen any of my friends play that really compared to the way NBA players or the way the business is run in regards to the NBA. If I could compare anything, I would say Japan was as close to how NBA players are treated as possible. They do a fantastic job of taking care of the players. One of the common themes, that a lot of horror stories that you might hear from guys who play basketball overseas is there's different situations where you may not get your money or the living situations aren't up to par or the food is always different. But Japan does a really, really good job of kind of accommodating the American players, the foreigners, and making sure that they feel comfortable and that they're ready to perform and they like where they are.
Okay. So now we're going to kind of move on to more of just like the industry and business type questions.
Sure.
So like, how does working for an NBA franchise, how is it different than working for pretty much any other industry?
Well, you know what? Honestly, I couldn't speak on other industries. Like I said, I came straight from playing basketball overseas to Portland Trailblazers, and
Mm-hmm.
so this is my first corporate job. This is my first real job, I would consider. Um, I can't speak for other things, but I do know that as far as how I approach this here, I approach it just like I would in basketball. I try to put my head down and work, and I definitely was a little unfamiliar with the ways that some of these are the process and how some things would work within the NBA. But I think if you ask questions and if you're willing to learn, you're willing to keep an open mind, and you have a good attitude, that you can find success within the NBA, and hopefully it's that way at other jobs as well.
Okay. What are some of the things that kind of go behind the scenes, specifically kind of on the business side, that some people may not realize? I mean, we all know, we all watch the draft, we all hear players getting traded, coaches fired and hired, we know all that stuff, but I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that must go behind the scenes. Like,
You know what? I'm not privy to all that information,
no,
but on the
okay,
business side of things, I think there's some things that not everyone thinks about. Like, for instance, right now we are in the beginning of August. It's kind of the downtime still for the NBA. It's going to ramp up really, really soon here. And around this time, the NBA schedule will get released. As soon as the schedule gets released, we're able to start going through and looking at what teams are going to be the most popular in terms of ticket prices or demand that fans are going to want to see. Obviously, this year, Kevin Durant going to the Golden State Warriors was a big deal.
yeah.
So I don't know if we can price that ticket higher than what what a playoff game would be, but I'd imagine that's going to be a pretty big deal this year. So I think that, like I said, right now there's a lot of things that who are a little bit higher up than me are working on, and they kind of funnel that information down to us, and then we get to kind of go out and grind and start to apply that to our different job descriptions. So,
Okay.
Yeah, there is a lot that goes on for sure.
Yeah, it's more than just putting a team out on the court. I mean, you have to go do your sales stuff and.
Of course.
Okay.
And for me, in my job description in particular, I definitely deal with a lot of individuals as far as, hey, I'd like to come out to the Milwaukee Buck game or Orlando or whoever it is. But for me in particular, when I'm going out and talking to companies, it's more about, for them in particular, it's more about how can they entertain their employees or their clients, or what type of return on investment are they going to be getting from purchasing tickets from us, compared to just dealing with individuals who are just so emotionally driven about seeing Cleveland versus Portland, or whatever else it may be. So at least for me on a day-to-day, that's kind of the things that I deal with. But yeah, kind of lost my train of thought with that one. But yeah,
no problem.
I'll stay there for now.
Alrighty. So this next question, I know you're not an econ guy, so just kind of whatever your opinion is, and but would you say that applying economics and business ideas and theories to sports is an effective way of learning the disciplines?
Sure. I think that, again, I'll stay with ticket pricing. Right now, one of the things that you kind of see that's starting to become more and more popular within the ticketing industry is dynamic pricing. Going back to what I was just speaking about with Golden State, that's going to be an extremely high price ticket this year compared to if you're coming out to see Milwaukee on a Monday. Things are going to fluctuate, and it can fluctuate even more. Let's say if Durant and Curry and Draymond Green and Klay Thompson all got hurt at the exact same time. That exact same ticket price that was sky high at one point could drop dramatically because we may have problems moving that ticket. On the flip side, maybe Milwaukee's on a 40-game win streak and no one expected that. They could all of a sudden jump up in pricing. And now that's on a day-to-day basis. That's not, if you were to buy season tickets, obviously your price is locked in and you paid one rate that's going to apply throughout the season. But for those individuals like myself or you, if you're just walking up to the gate and you would like to get a ticket, that ticket price could look one way on a Monday compared to game night when you get to the arena. So, again, those are things that people above me get to deal with, and they get to make those decisions and have a lot more feedback on. But I know that it's a big focus for us, and the Trailblazers are definitely one of the leaders in the NBA in terms of analytics and how we break down what seed is priced at where. Again, the games and how much they are seeing what price point that different teams are going to be selling at. So there's definitely a lot that goes into that, and it's all very interesting. So
it's like a lot. I mean, every little detail you have to take in consideration.
Sure.
All right. So this is the last question I have for you. And I'm not sure if you would know this, but based on any experience you've had working with the Trailblazers, is there a lot of collaboration with other franchises?
I haven't seen that in my time here. Most NBA teams are independently run. Well, all NBA teams are independently run. So I can't say that there's a whole lot of collaboration there. I think for the Trailblazers, we're a little unique in that our owner, Paul Allen, also owns the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah.
So I think that, on that front, we're always supporting the Seahawks. And, if you log on Twitter or Facebook, social media, you'll see support, especially at times when the Seahawks are deep in a playoff run, or maybe we are doing the same. I'd say the same thing about the Timbers, though. Portland's not a huge market. There's only 2 professional teams here. And I do think that we'll have a Timbers night. You'll see a lot of the players come out to the games. They'll get some love on the Jumbotron. And then again, like I said, on social media, there'll be some shout outs and some support that goes back and forth. But in terms of, the franchises linking up and doing different things, I haven't seen a ton of that, but, I could be wrong as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little harder when the closest team is in San Francisco. So
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's interesting for us also because, at one point, our beloved Sonics. I used to live in Seattle, so I still have some love for the Sonics, but they're obviously gone. But so now for us, it's a little different. We see a lot, going back to your economics question, also, you see a lot of people coming down from the Seattle and Vancouver, Canada area who normally would have no thought of driving all the way down to Portland to come watch a basketball game. Mm-hmm. But you start to see a little bit more of that, and it's the same thing even all the way down in Sacramento. I've had customers call me and say, hey, we'd like to come up to a game. And it's like, wow, you guys want to drive, whatever that is, 8-10 hours to make it up to a basketball game. So maybe not necessarily Sacramento, but, just above that or way, way down in Southern Oregon.
Oregon. Well, Kevin, that's all I have for you today. Thanks again for coming and speaking.
This was really cool, man. Let me know if there's any other time you ever have this available. I always wanted to be on a podcast. I feel like I'm on a podcast right now.
So have a good day, Kevin.
Yeah, you as well, man.